Good afternoon, everyone. Let's go over IXL assignment 6LQ, write variable expressions from word problems. So first, let's just do a quick refresher on what the difference between an expression and equation is. There are honestly a lot of similarities between the two, but the main difference is that if it's an equation, you can actually solve it. You can actually have a final answer and it is equal to something. Hence our equal sign in all of the equations. Where on the left here, when we have an expression, it's just kind of like it's a statement. There are no equal signs, there's no inequality signs, it's just a statement. So that's the main difference between the two. And then in this IXL assignment, we are going to be writing expressions from word problems. So here is a list of some of the key words that you can find when you're reading word problems. This obviously doesn't include everything, but if you're reading and you notice words like total, together, combined, more than, it's going to lead you to say, okay, I need to add these things together. Whereas if you see words like difference or smaller or decreased, you're going to be subtracting. Then with multiplication, some of our key words is if it's of, or if it's each, or if you have two different things and you're trying to find the total of them, you have to look a little carefully to see if it's addition or multiplication, because remember, they are related. Multiplication is like a shorthand. Multiplication is repeated addition. So looking closely if it talks about total to see which one you would need. And then last but not least, here's some keywords on division. A big thing with division is when I see that you're splitting it into equal groups or you're dividing it out. You're given the total and you're having to separate things out, get the average, put things into equal pieces. That kind of all clues you in to division. All right, so now let's hop on over to IXL and actually put this into practice because that's always where we learn best. All right, here we are on IXL. Reminder that we're working on assignment 6LQ, write variable expressions from word problems. And then don't forget that IXL has some great resources for you too. You can click on this button and it will be a drop down. It's kind of like a page from your textbook where it goes through step by step with word form, how you can solve this problem. It gives you an example. Or they also have an awesome video that they have made. And that's a great resource because sometimes it's nice to hear things from a different perspective. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So our question here says Amanda has 12 beads on her necklace. She added B more beads. Choose the expression that shows how many beads are on her necklace in all. So whenever I have a word problem, I make sure I read it at least twice because the first time is just kind of to get the gist. And then the second time, and sometimes even the third, is to really look a little bit closer and find the key words, see what it's asking us to find. So I see when I read this again that she had 12 beads on her necklace. And then it says she added B more beads. Well, thankfully, that's pretty clear. If I see the word added, definitely know I'm adding, need to plus. But then a few other things that help us know that is it says choose the expression that says how many beads are on the necklace in all. So the fact that it wants me to add these to get our total kind of helps confirm that. So when we look at our choices here, this second one is the expression that we could write to represent this scenario. Is 12 beads she started with, then she added B more beads. She added an unknown number of beads. Whenever something's unknown in math, we use a variable. All right, next question. Haley has F fish in her fish tank. Carson has 3 times as many fish as Haley. Choose the expression that shows how many fish Carson has. All right, now if I read this again, it says Haley has F number of fish in her fish tank, and then Carson has 3 times as many. Well, this one is another one where it kind of helps give it away. It says the word times. So if we're timesing, we're going to be multiplying. And then we want to show the expression that shows how many fish Carson has. So when we look at these 4 choices here, Um, Obviously, I can see this one's subtracting, not it. This one's adding, not it. But then we look at our first two choices. The first one is written here in fraction form. Recall that a fraction is another way that we can write division. So this first one here is showing us f divided by 3. It's just showing division in fraction form. So that's not it because we want multiplication. So the second one is our winner. The reason it's written like this is whenever we multiply a number and a variable together, this is the best way to write it. There are lots of ways that you can show multiplication. You can use a dot, you can use an asterisk, you can use parentheses. But if you're multiplying a number, our 3, and our variable, our f, typically when you multiply those together, you just put them side by side to show that multiplication. So the second one right here is our answer. This is showing us 3 times f, 3 times fish. All right, this one here says Bill checked out 5 books from the library. Hazel checked out B fewer books than Bill. Choose the expression that shows the number of books Hazel checked out. So Bill got 5 books, and then Hazel got B fewer. Well, this word right here, fewer, is telling me less than. That's telling me I need something with subtraction here because we're getting B fewer books. So we're going to subtract that B. So our third choice here, 5 minus B, is the expression that matches this. All right, let's do one more before we jump up a level. So there are tea trees growing in John's yard, and 3 of the trees are maple trees. Choose the expression that shows how many trees are not maple trees. Okay. So we have T number of trees growing, and 3 of those are maple. But I want an expression to show the ones that are not maple. What do you think? Well, T is the total number of trees, and we know 3 of them are maple. And if we want the ones that are not maple, then we'd want to subtract those because we'd want to take those 3 maple ones out of the equation, out of it, because we want the ones that are not maple. So T minus 3 would be the expression that shows the ones that are not maple trees. All right, once you get a little bit higher into the SMART score, so probably in the 50s or 60s, your questions will switch from multiple choice to where you have to write the expression yourself. And if we look at the way this is formatted, you can just use your keyboard for the plus sign and minus sign. But if you do have a problem that is multiplication, they've given you a dot here that you can use. And then if you have one that's division, they've given you a little fraction button that you can use. So before you even read this, just to kind of test it out, if you realize that it's one where it needs division, you would click that button and you can move your mouse cursor and put whatever you need into that fraction to show your division. And then obviously backspace to clear. And if you need something with a dot for multiplication, you can just press that dot to show multiplication there. Okay, now let's look at the actual problem. Shane bought a package of 12 bagels. He gave B of them to his friends. Write an expression to show the number of bagels that Shane has left. All right, so we know that he started off with a package with a total of 12 bagels. And if he's giving them away and we want to know how many he has left, those two things for me signify subtraction because it's not telling us that he split them evenly among his friends. If it said he split them evenly, I would want to divide. But it's just saying he's giving some away and we want to know how many he has left. So that clues me in to subtraction. So we would have 12 minus B as our expression. And you don't have to put spaces in there. I am just so it looks a little bit easier for the video, but you don't have to put the spaces in between the minus sign for IXL to count it as correct. All right. Julia drew S sketches of flowers. She split them evenly among her three pen pals. Write an expression that shows how many sketches each pen pal received. I didn't plan this, but this is a perfect problem to come next. Because if we look at this one, we see that this is the total number of sketches she drew, S, and then it tells us she split them evenly among her pen pals. And we then want to know how many each person received. So those two things right there, splitting them evenly and then wanting to know how much each person got, that signifies to me division. It's telling us that we're going to divide. So when we go to type this in, if we click in the answer box, we can show our division as a fraction. So we can press that button and it'll be S, however many sketches she made, divided by 3 friends. That expression matches this. All right, let's do 1 or 2 more questions together. All right, the baker put M more muffins than scones on the platter. He put 12 scones on the platter. Write an expression that shows how many muffins the baker put on the platter. Okay, when we look at this closely, M more muffins than scones. So that word more right there kind of leads me to plus. And then if he put 12 scones on the platter, well, M more than scones. So write an expression that shows how many muffins the baker put on the platter. So M plus 12 would show us that because it's M more muffins than scones. So it's 12 scones plus however many extra muffins. If we add that together, we would get our total. All right, last question that we'll do together here. Kylie used bee beads to make each necklace. She made 14 necklaces in all. Write an expression to show the total number of beads. So B is how many beads. So B is standing for the beads that each necklace has. And then we know that she made 14 necklaces. So write an expression to show the total number of beads. Well, this one right here is telling me multiplication because we know 2 separate pieces, the beads and the total number of necklaces. But what we really want is the total number of beads, so we can multiply this together to get our answer. So you could either write it side by side like 14b, or you could use the dot to show multiplication. Either would be acceptable and be counted as correct. All right, so I hope that this helped. If you have any questions, please make sure to check out IXL's video or reach out to your teacher via email. But I think you guys got this. It is your turn to hop on IXL. Good luck.